Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, and we talk about the grant and the startup program and how we can help businesses become fundable. So today we're going to spin the topic a little bit and talk more directly to those of you who are either distribution partners and or those of you that may be considering becoming a distribution partner. So instead of speaking to the prospective participant, I'm going to speak to you as a distribution partner to make sure that you know some strategies and tips to be successful. So as a financial literacy educator, that's what you and I are, we need to go out and teach. We don't need to sell anything to anyone. We need to go teach because there's a problem. There's a vast problem in the marketplace. And that problem is that most small business owners want and need capital to start, to grow, to reach their potential. So not every business, but most businesses do. So I think we would agree that's a universal truth. The problem is most of them don't have access to capital. And it's not because there's not enough banks or credit unions or lenders. The problem is quite simply most businesses are not fundable. Worse yet, most businesses don't know what it takes to be fundable. Therefore, they don't know what to fix. So that's really what you and I do as financial literacy educators is we educate. We teach the formula for funding. So I'm sharing my screen here as usual, chapmanloanprogram.org. If you are a current distribution partner, we should have sent you the 10 mistake PowerPoint. Now, what I'm highlighting here is an on-demand version, a YouTube version that you could certainly view and listen and see how we present it. But we want to make sure that you have that PowerPoint. Now, are you required to teach if you're a distribution partner? No. But is it a best practice? It is. Because what we've already agreed to and stated, most small businesses need funding. Most of them don't qualify. And furthermore, most of them don't realize that that's the problem. So if we could educate them about the 10 mistakes that keep most small businesses from being fundable, then we can very easily help them understand how we can assist them through the startup package. If you don't teach first, you could still certainly educate and get clients engaged, but I think it's a bit more difficult, and it may feel more like a sales pitch to them. I was talking to Brian this morning. Brian is a pastor in Florida, I believe, and he's also one of our branch managers, one of our distribution partners. And he said he's having trouble closing. Well, we don't really need to close. What we need to do is educate either formally or informally, and then we can just ask the client a few questions. So let's go through that. So the first question that would determine if a client is or prospective client is a good prospect is, are they looking for funding? Are you looking for funding to start or grow a business? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, that's fine. Then they don't have a problem that we're here to solve. Now, you can spend time with them, you can visit with them, you can do whatever you want, but they're really not a prospect if they don't need funding. And you'll find a few small businesses that are like that, but that's the exception, not the norm. So if they do need funding, then the second question is, are you fundable? Is your business fundable? Granted, they typically don't know what that means, and they're most likely to say yes because they don't know what is needed. Well, as we've talked about before and what's included in our grant and the startup business funding package, this is the formula for funding. This is what it takes. So let's go through it briefly. The first thing that a small business needs to be fundable is a unique commercial address. Thus, if they're working out of a house, if they have a post office box, a shared office address, their business is not fundable. Therefore, we could help them. Secondly, they need to be in good standing with the Secretary of State. If they're not, we can help them. And as you see, free and free, we can actually file with the Secretary of State and get a business formed for them. And then they need to have an EIN and a business bank account. So we call these first three bullets essentially the credibility factors. You don't have a credible business if you don't have these three. Again, I plead with you to have patience, because a lot of people don't know what you know, and they'll have some element of this and think they're good, and they'll say crazy things like, well, yeah, I have my EIN. Well, that doesn't mean you're fundable, and it doesn't mean that you're even credible. That's one element. We need all three of these to even get started becoming fundable. So again, you can educate them as you wish. We provide each of you a proposal that you can share with them. We provide each of you a press release that you can share with them. We provide each of you a flyer that you can share with them. All of those can be great talking points, or you can take a more formal approach of teaching the 10 mistakes. Once we have a credible business, which is determined by the first three bullets, now we need to make sure that they understand what it means to be fundable. And often they don't understand that. So what's the first thing that it takes to have a fundable business? We need to have a strong business credit profile. And the way that the grant does that, helps with that, provides that, is that first we're going to help them create an optimized but legal, everything we're doing is legal and ethical, but an optimized profile with Dun & Bradstreet and Experian Business. So making sure that everything is loaded in the system correct, their industry, their contact information, number of employees, and so forth. Once we have that, then we add primary trade lines. We literally help them add primary trade lines. Yesterday, we talked about adding company vehicles. We could talk about adding real estate. We could talk about adding business credit cards. The bottom line is we want to add trade lines to the client's business credit profile so the business looks strong and creditworthy. No surprise. And we do that. We do that for free. Now, this is a resource that's available elsewhere. Some of you help clients build business credit. That's fine. We're not going to compete with you. If you want to do it your way instead of our way, that's fine. Credit Suite, CREDITSUITE, Credit Suite out of Florida is a remarkably good business. They've been around for a long time. They're very, very good at what they do. But they charge thousands of dollars to do what we do for free. So once we have a credible business, then we need to help the client become fundable, which starts with being credit worthy. Now we're almost set to go. What's left? Now we need to have good financials. This is where you'll have prospects often will dismiss that. No, that doesn't apply to me. I've got a startup or I got an early stage business. Well, again, we need to teach them. We need to improve their financial literacy because they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. We don't need to have a business that's been around a long time to get fundable, but we do need to have a fundable business. So what is included through the grant is what we call quick cash. Quick cash, and we had a conversation this morning with a prospective client. It's quite straightforward. People want to make it too complicated, but it's not. So what are we doing? We're transferring over $10,000 to the participant. $10,000. It's not money that has to be paid back. We're going to post that all as collateral on their balance sheet. So now they have collateral on their balance sheet. If they don't have a balance sheet, we're going to help them create a balance sheet because we need to have financials. We can't, it's ridiculous to think, and wrong, to think that we can have a poorly positioned business and go borrow large amounts of money. That's too good to be true. So we help the client create a balance sheet. We add assets to the balance sheet, which serves as collateral. Those assets are receivables. Then we help the client liquidate those receivables, if they'd like our help to do so, and turn that into cash in their bank, cash in their bank account. So now they have a strong bank rating as well. So once we have done these three things to create a credible business, and we've done these two things to create a fundable business, guess what? we're ready to go to funding. This is normally a 30 to 60-day process. There are all kinds of different places that we can go for funding. It's not limited. The Chapman Fund is one of our favorites for a few reasons. The Chapman Fund is through a taxing authority, so we don't even have to go apply through a bank. So it makes it easier, makes it quicker, makes it better. The downside of the Chapman Fund, though, is the Chapman Fund will only loan up to $250,000. So we could use the Chapman Fund and then go after another type of capital as a second tranche, or we could enroll and go through this multiple times and replicate this. But the bottom line is there's many places to get funding. Don't think otherwise. The Chapman Fund is just a unique one that we have geographic access to. So the bottom line is if you are a distribution partner, you need to create awareness because we've got a solution to people's problems. And if you take somehow, some way, an educational approach. So what are examples of that? Well, you could take the PowerPoint and you could teach it. You could teach it online, in person. You could teach it to individuals. You could teach it to groups. We provide you a proposal format, a template that you could take to key influencers like churches and chambers and co-working spaces, whereby they would host it in person or online. They provide the butts in the seats. They provide the audience. You could do a revenue share with them if you want. Consistent accessibility is the key to enrolling lots of clients, helping lots of clients. Because once you've educated them, again, we have about an 85 to 87% chance of them enrolling. Why? Well, because they have a problem. We determined that they needed funding and they're not fundable. And this program, this grant supported program, helps them become fundable. Joel has a question and it fits in nicely. So, this is what's included in the program, in the startup business funding package. Now, let's say that they don't want or need parts of this, then that's fine. We can skip it. So let's say they already have an entity, then we'll skip that bullet. Let's say they already have an EIN, fine, we'll skip that. Let's say they already have a good address, fine, we'll skip that. Let's say they already have strong business credit, great. I mean, the more they have, fine, it just makes the process go quicker. But that doesn't change the fact that this is what's needed to have a fundable business, and that's why it's packaged together. For participants that come to our website, it's real simple. There's a two-step process to qualify. We want them to read the proposal. We want them to know what we're doing. And then secondly, we want them to view the press release, which kind of walks them through it, and that's embedded here. Once they've completed step one, then they can enroll. If you're a distribution partner, most likely what you'll do is you will take the editable agreement, and we provide that to you, and it looks just like this. We'll provide you the editable agreement, so it'll look like this, and then you'll take it, put your contact information on it. So for example, instead of sending them to us, they'll go to you. You'll have your call to action. And then normally you would text them the link. So you're probably using DocuSign or Adobe or some way to get an e-signature. That's up to you. And so best practice would be to text them the link to enroll, be on the phone with them and walk them through it. And most people, about 9 out of 10 people, will enroll. So you're not hard closing them. You're not pressuring them. You're not technically closing them. You're just helping them engage in the grant subsidized program. So our topic today is making sure that each of you who are distribution partners or considering becoming a distribution partner, which you can do right here, that you know how to go out to the marketplace. So that's our topic today. So if you have questions or comments, please type them into the Q&A. It's like a chat of Zoom. All right, so going back to Joel's question, what if the business owner has an existing business, but not a unique commercial address and not in good standing with the Secretary of State? Well, you have several variables there, Joel, but the bottom line is this is what's required to have a fundable business. A good address, good standing Secretary of State, EIN of bank account, good business credit, strong financials. So that's what it takes to be fundable. If they don't have those elements, then either we can help them fix it, or I guess not. This is how we help them fix it. Now, once in a while, you'll run into a company that has all of this. They're like, no, I'm good. I'm fundable. Great. So then we just scroll right down here and we have a link under grant resources where they can click on, and we can go to funding. In other words, get them financing offers today with no hard inquiries. So there are a number of grant resources, as Timothy was suggesting. Click here to become a client, here for the financing offers, here to register for the daily Zooms, here for the 10 mistake on demand, here for funding success stories, and then lastly, click here to plug in as a distribution partner. All right, so let's see. Ashley is asking about the grant. Yeah, so every participant will automatically receive a $2,500 grant allocation when they enroll in the Startup Business Funding Package. And so that happens automatically. They don't have to jump through hoops. For folks that are coming to us directly, we do ask them to do step one first. But if you're a distribution partner, you're controlling the client enrollments, right? Because we're providing you an editable version of the client flyer and client agreement. So you're getting the client signed up. So with that being said, then it's up to you if you want to require them to be educated first, but you'll get them under contract through your link, typically Adobe or DocuSign. All right, so Herman asks, do we use the Chapman link? Well, that's what I'm trying to convey, Herman, and it's my fault. So if you're a distribution partner, as you are, Herman, then you have an editable version of the client agreement. You should have that, and then you put it into Adobe or DocuSign. You have the client sign up directly with you. All right. Let's see here. Fu has a question about monthly expense. Yeah, so this is all inclusive. So there are no monthly expenses for enrolling in the Startup Business Funding Package. And again, we're very transparent. So in addition to the website, in addition to the proposal, in addition to the press release, there is the agreement, of course. And so you can click on that. It'll pop up here. If you are a prospective client, you'll want to go back to your distribution partner. They'll get you a copy of the agreement so you can get plugged in. And if you're working with us directly, you do it right here on step 2. All right, let's see. So yes, so there's questions about the grant. So the grant is providing $2,500. So that allows us to do a number of things for free. And the client does have a participation fee as well, because the grant doesn't cover all of it. And you'll just want to work with whichever distribution partner invited you today to today's Zoom to identify exactly what your portion would be. But if you need to finance that, that's not a problem. We can get you financing offers here. So, and different of our partners have a bit of a different pricing model, different approach. So I can't speak to dollars and cents very effectively, because you would have to go back and visit with the distribution partner you're working with to figure out how they have it set up. So in the end, if you are a distribution partner, we're in a wonderful position. We have what we call the formula for funding. We know exactly what it takes to have a fundable business, and we tell the world, we teach the world. And from that, we have a grant that allows participants to participate in the Startup Business Funding Package. If you are one of our distribution partners, obviously it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but you make $1,250 upfront for each client you educate. And so our typical distribution partners are helping one client a day, 30 a month. And of course, there might be 2 one day and 0 the next, but in general, and that's not a quota, that's not a requirement, but the average, our average distribution partner is enrolling one client a day over a month's period. So they're bringing in 30 to 35,000 a month as a side gig. I realize that's not much. You're probably worth a lot more than that, but for helping people as a side gig, I don't think it's an insult. Certainly you can ramp that up, working with hosts, doing more workshops, being more visible. You could increase that number 2-fold or 5-fold or even 10-fold, because there's almost an infinite demand in the marketplace of businesses looking for capital. No one else applied for or received the grant, so we're exclusive in what we do. So that's the nice thing about us working together, is you're not going to run into some competitive program. And again, we lead with education, right? We teach the world what it takes to have a fundable business. And if they want to go get their own address on their own, fine, do it. But we'll provide you that free. If they want to go file with the Secretary of State on their own, fine, but we'll do it for you for free. If you want to go get your EIN and get your bank account open on your own, fine, but we'll do it for you for free. If you want to go build your business credit on your own, go get company car, which we talked about yesterday, get credit cards, get real estate, whatever it is you want to do that on your own, go do it on your own. That's fine, but we'll help you with that for free. You're going to need strong financials, right? We're not going to get big business funding with weak financials. Well, we provide you $10,000 placed on your balance sheet for collateral, right? And so if they want to go do that on their own, they can go do that on their own. But you can quickly see that the value proposition that we offer is unmatched. And that's why, on average, 85 to 87% of the people that you teach will enroll. And again, financing is available. All right, so let me see if there's any other questions. Ashley's asking about being both a distribution partner and a client. Yeah, a lot of people do that. It's not required, but certainly you could click down here and become a distribution partner, and you could click right here and enroll. So that is fine. Foo's asking about cost incurred for the first tranche. Well, that's a great point. So when a client enrolls, I'm going to combine Foo's question with about cost with timing. So if a client were to enroll in the Startup Business Funding Package, either directly with us or through one of our distribution partners, it doesn't make a difference. It normally takes us 30 to 60 days to complete that process. So I think what Foo's getting at is, well, what if the client needs funding soon or now? And they don't have a fundable business? Because if they do have a fundable business, they don't need this, then we go straight to finance. But let's say that they don't have a fundable business and we're 30 to 60 days out. Client needs funding sooner. What do? That's fine. So we go ahead, the client enrolls, we plug them in, we start going through the sequence, predictable, certain, no risk. We know it will work. And also, we can go ahead and get them some interim financing offers. The offers that they'll get will be based upon where they're at now. See the difference? What we're doing here is building a fundable business, but it's not like just add water and stir. It takes 30 to 60 days. If that's too long, they need funding sooner, fine. We still want to enroll them in this, so we do have a fundable business in 30 to 60 days, but we can go ahead and see what financing they qualify for now. But just don't make the mistake of saying, well, okay, I enrolled today. I want my 250,000 today. Well, that's unrealistic, right? Because we've already said, here are the things that we need to do, that we're going to do, that we provide for free. We've already disclosed it takes 30 to 60 days to go through this. So no, you probably won't get 250,000 today. However, we can see what you do qualify for today and get some money in your pocket over the next couple business days. And that's done with a separate link. Hopefully that makes sense. Bobby asked about use of funds. And so that's correct. When we're putting together a loan package for a client, part of what's needed is to understand how much funding they need and what they're going to use it for. So we're working with Eric and Veronica, and I believe they're both on this morning. And we have one client specifically we talked to yesterday. And if I recall, I don't have it in front of me, but I think that client is looking for 20 million, if I have that correct. And so some clients are looking for a lot of money, and that's fine. Or some are looking for a little bit amount of money. But Bobby's correct. Part of the process, eventually we'll need to know, before we go to funding, we'll need to know how much funding do they need and what are they going to use it for, because that determines where we should go for funding. So for example, as long as we're below 5 million, it's pretty straightforward. Once you get above 5 million, it is more difficult. And furthermore, if we're at 500,000 or below, we can take advantage of the new SBA guidelines that accelerates it. So don't misinterpret what I said. I didn't say that we can't do more than 5 million. I didn't say that. I didn't say we can't do more than 500,000. I didn't say that. I just said it does become increasingly difficult, as you might expect, the larger amount. But what's awesome about this, and I'll close on this, is clients see the results right away, right? We're getting them their commercial address right away. We're getting them formed with the Secretary of State in a couple of days. We're getting their EIN and bank account open in a couple of days. We're starting to add trade lines, like the company vehicle we talked about yesterday. We went and picked up our company vehicle on Saturday. We should be working with you all to go get your company vehicle today or this week, right? There's no reason that every client can't get a business vehicle that's fully tax deductible, that has accelerated depreciation. So they buy the vehicle with no money down in December, and then the IRS refunds their business accelerated depreciation in January, right? So I don't want to leave you thinking, oh, it takes a long time for a client to see benefit. That's not true at all. They're going to start seeing benefits right away, but you can't be a simpleton and confuse that with saying, well, I just want my 250,000 today. Well, if you qualify for that, we'll go find that out. But in most cases, people won't qualify for that much right away. That's why we go through this step to create these steps to create a fundable business. Food's asking about success stories. And so, yes, that is the second to the bottom grant resource. All right, so with that being said, let's wrap it up. So we get together most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central. Of course, the link to register is here. It doesn't change. It's the same. Once you've registered once, you can come back and join us. You can bring prospective clients. You can bring clients. We're here to create fundable businesses through this grant. You can participate and get funding yourself, and or you can participate and help people improve their financial literacy and get paid to do so. Or as, who was it that asked that? Ashley, you can do both. You can do both. Obviously, our phone number is here, our email is here. We're in the process of buying a collection agency. We had talked about that, and that is helpful for our clients that need to liquidate receivables as a way to create cash flow. So we're making good headway on that. And we just hired new general counsel. His name's Kyle. He is our lead attorney. Now we have paralegals. We don't have in-house attorneys, but we just hired, as of yesterday, Kyle. He is our new general counsel, has over 20 years experience in credit-related legal matters. So we have a compliant, effective program. We're remarkably transparent. When you go to Chapman Loan Program, which was required when we received the grant, you get the whole story, right? What do we do? Here's the proposal. Here's the press release, the video. Here to enroll. There's no passwords. Everyone can see what we do. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We have been one for almost a decade now. You've got our information. You've got all the resources. So at this point, it's up to you. What do you want to do with this? Do you want to be funded? Then enroll. Give it a try. There's no risk. Do you want to get paid to help other people? Then give it a try. There's no risk. It's right here. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We will see you back tomorrow morning. Let us know if you need anything between now and then. Bye-bye.